Hey guys, it's Aisha, and today I want to talk about my visual novel that I'm working on. We're gonna call it Genie, shorthanded, but basically it's like my sister is a genie, and I want to wish for world peace. That's basically the running title for now. I might change it in the future, but basically, I'm making a visual novel. If you don't know what that is, a visual novel is basically like what it says it is. It's a visual story where either you have choices, sometimes you don't, sometimes you have choices and they don't matter, or sometimes you have choices and they help you get certain likability with a certain character. If it's an otome game where basically you romance somebody. That's not always the case for visual novels. It just kind of depends on what you're trying to do. Games can be whatever. So basically, I wanted to make a game where it was kind of centered around two sisters arguing over what to do with wishes, and like one of the sisters is a genie, the other one isn't, and that sister who isn't is always wishing for something in terms of like helping the world and world peace. And I wanted to be like every wish that she made throughout the process of the game that you choose from ends up like destroying the world or doing something really crazy. And like whether you how it depends on like you go through all three of the wishes, and then if you start the game over, you're able to like make a fourth wish or something like that is more like better, basically has a better ending than all the other wishes did. I have changed that now because like I felt like it wasn't really that strong. Also, the game in its current state, because of those wishes, is very, very short, so I wanted to like add more to it, but I'll get into that later. Right now, let me like explain the characters, because I feel like there's a lot with that, and I have been working on the design for certain characters for a while. So in the original like design of the characters, there was I wanted to make two sisters. I wanted one to be a little more heavy set, the other one to be a little skinnier. I always had like Chloe is the one with the bow, and then China is the one with like the facial piercings. Originally, I wanted her to look more genie-like, so I added a lot of like gold on her. I added piercings on her face. I even gave her this sprinkle of freckles that was like golden as well, all across her chest. Of course, I want her to be thick, you know. I've been playing around with thick girls lately, and yeah, I'm having fun with that. Like her design, I want her to be very shapely, where like her younger sister is more skinny. I also had a different color scheme for the sisters, with like I wanted China to be, like I said, I wanted her to look more like a genie, so I focused on colors that I thought were more associated with a genie. And being that they're both characters are black, I wanted their versions of genies to like highlight their skin. So there was like a lot of gold, there's a lot of like peach colors, like pink but like closer to peach, and then these not rich blues, but like these like soft blue colors, which I feel like blue is always associated with genies, which is why I also gave Chloe blue hair. And Chloe's colors were more darker, basically. I wanted to play into her more like crueler side. Like she can be very very selfish, and I wanted to play into that by having her with a darker color scheme. Also, I wanted one of the characters to basically have this more grunge punk aesthetic. I don't know why. I just like punk. I like those designs. So for some reason, I just wanted Chloe to have it at first, and that's where her like monochromatic, well, it's not monochromatic, but like her two colors on her clothes, like having her shirt have like two different colors on it. I thought that was really cool. I also gave her like one black glove. Like she was stylish. Like I still love this design. I just don't feel like it fits what I'm trying to do now, as I've like developed the characters more and developed the story a bit more. But I did really enjoy her design. I did keep certain things, like her bow. I thought that was really cute, and I've been playing more into her like cuter looks. I kept her glasses, but I don't make them like green anymore. I just keep them like normal. They don't really look like glasses right now, like as in terms of like they don't have like a tint or like they don't have this like coloring on it. But I feel like it fit more with that design than it does with this. Then I redesigned Chloe again to give her lighter colors to play more into her cuter, like more innocent look or ideas. And I realized like Chloe is very naive. I wanted her to be more naive. I wanted her to be more not childlike per se, but just very simple-minded when it comes to certain things. I still wanted her to be like a little bit more aggressive about her ideas and stuff like that, without the darker edge or the darker tones around it. So I decided to lighten up her outfit, but darken her hair. At the time, I still had her glasses tinted, but instead of a green, it was like more of a pink color, which was cute, but it's giving Dexter's Laboratory. It's giving You're a Scientist or something. It's giving Mad Father. It's not giving Mad Father, but that's kind of when I think of it like an evil scientist, I think of Mad Father. But I wanted Chloe to be more cute. I wanted her to be more friendly. I wanted her to be more bubbly. And I don't want to take away the fact that she's like intelligent or smart. I want her to be naive, but I don't want it to be that she was naive and faultless for that. I wanted the story to go more in the direction of that Chloe knows what she's doing, but she's just like willfully ignorant to certain things because she wants it her way. And that's where the simple-mindedness comes from. Like it's still wrong, but it's instead of through the lens of like, oh, she's just a bad person, it's more like she's a complicated person. So this is where I'm starting to develop Chloe more through her design. And I like I said, I kept the bows because I still think that the bow is really cute. And like I kept her gloves. At this point I just switched it from black glove to a white glove, but I still kept it like one glove. This is where I started playing around with like Chloe's personality, and like in this design I wanted to just see how, in my mind I wanted to just like play around with the idea of Chloe. Like what type of reaction would she have? Is she like a very is she very deliberate in what she's doing? Is she playful? Is she clever? Is she mean? Or is she really just shy and cute? I decided Chloe's not, like, basically she is not shy. She is very bubbly, outgoing. She has confidence in herself to some degree. She's very active, and like I was really trying to get this like more confident, self-confident, but just naive at the same time. She can be very fun to be around, to talk to. She's got like this charm and this charisma with her, but she's just not necessarily like clever enough to do the things that she wants to do, or at least she's just mentally lazy about the way that she goes about it, especially with the way that she does her wishes. And like this is where I was talking about like keeping certain aspects of her personality, where she is negligent about the way that she goes about stuff, and like wishing for world peace no matter how many times her sister tells her like this is not gonna work out. She keeps going forward. She keeps being hard-headed and not listening. Excuse me. And not wanting to like address the fact that things will not turn out the way that you think it will. This is where I'm kind of like playing with that idea that like Chloe isn't just a typical, I don't want her to be just one-dimensional. I really want her to be more than just naive. I want her to be capable. It's obvious through like the conversations you have with Chloe, and she is capable of understanding that there are consequences to her actions. She just doesn't care about how that affects other people, because 9 times out of 10 it won't affect her. It won't drastically affect her. Throughout the game I wanted to originally I wanted it to be like where Chloe would make the wish, but the wish would turn bad, but it would mostly affect China negatively. And I thought that was really interesting, because like China's she's the genie. So technically, why would it affect the genie? But it does. Every time it affects China more than it affects Chloe. And there's this like willful ignorance about how bad the situation is when it comes to Chloe and the wishes that she makes. And every time China tries to reprimand her, like Chloe lashes out, or maybe she like apologizes, or maybe she like she doubles down on what she's doing. So that gets me into like I'm still playing around with the idea of her being this monochrome character. I keep saying monochrome, but like it's not. I guess it is only one color because technically white isn't a color, whatever. I'm still playing around with this design, but I'm at this point where like I'm showing it to my friends and I'm like asking them for advice about how they think this character would work, because I'm starting to realize like where I'm going with the story, this design does not make sense for what I'm actually trying to do. And I need to probably let go of this design, which is heartbreaking because I really liked it. But this can't be her design anymore. And I feel like also like when I did this drawing, I wasn't like, the design was shaky, like it wasn't consistent, and I needed a consistent model of what Chloe's supposed to be. I only realized it in this drawing because everything was so like wonky looking, like the feet were wonky, legs were wonky, hands were wonky, the head shape kept changing slightly, and like it was not doing what it was supposed to be doing. I put it in here now because I like looking back at it and seeing how different her design is compared to where I was here. But yeah, like I started changing the story based off of the fact that Chloe's design really wasn't where I wanted her to be. So then I got to the final design that I have for her, where she's wearing this big sweater. She's keeping her like bow, and I made her glasses clear. I gave her this really colorful palette, where like she has all these like she has teal and orange, and this was actually through talking to my friends and like asking them about like, oh, which design. So I went through like several designs to get to this point, but this is the final design for Chloe, where she looks more neutral, I guess. Like she looks very colorful and she seems very cute, and I wanted it to be friendly. I mean, yes, she wears a sweater, so she's a little closed off, but overall I think the design was really good in emphasizing what I wanted people to see in Chloe. When they look at Chloe, I want them to like question what type of character this might turn out to be, and I think I did a good job on that. I made her seem friendly and sweet just by the strong, like the very warm and strong colors that were coming out of her. But I want her to be, I want her to seem naive because of how warm her color palette is, or how like bright it is, but I don't want her to seem like childlike. I don't want her to seem like she's just a little kid. I wanted her to be like neutral, I guess, in a sense. Like you don't know exactly what you're gonna get with this character, but you get the sense that she's very sweet and cute and like cuddly. Okay, so now we can move on to China. China is the older sister. She is more responsible, a little bit more closed off, a little bit more aggressive about how she feels about things. She's kind of, I wouldn't say naggy, but she's very much like, this is not going to happen the way you think it is. Like, girl, like, think of something else. She's always trying to warn her sister about her wishes and things like that. That's initially how I wanted to put it for her, where she really has this thing about wishes and like not really wanting to use them to better life when you could really just do yourself. Being a genie herself, like, of course she's going to have a problem with constantly making wishes for other people. And I originally thought that, you know, like, I don't think China really has changed that much in the original ideas that I had for her. I would say that she's more emotional now, where I originally designed her to be a little bit more closed off, a little bit more like sarcastic, very like snarky, where she's still some of those things, but like not as much in her original design. I wanted to give her a very like more grunge style. I wanted to do more tears and rips in her clothing, but I felt like that was just a lot to do every time to like redraw that. So I gave her these really weird like patchwork clothing, where it was kind of like a sweater with a sleeveless sweater top, but like with like a neck collar. I don't know how to explain it, but then it's like a slit where the boobs are, and then it's like still short. Then she like has these pants where they're like cut on the thigh, like it's cut on the thigh for one side of the pants, and then she has like this brace looking thing that like on the rest of her leg. I don't know. I was thinking of like a very like modern day grunge where it basically like your clothes are kind of tattered and like in pieces and stuff. Like I said, I wanted to keep the punk themes with one of the characters, and since I kind of like moved away from that with Chloe, I gave all those attributes to China, which I'm really happy with because I do actually like China's design a lot. And like I played around with the like idea of being grunge or more punk in her design. Like she has like a darker colors, darker themes. She doesn't have she no longer is like representing what a genie would be or anything like that. She looks and acts like a normal person. I also kind of moved away from the idea that she's like I was playing around with her backstory and things like that, whether she was going to be a full genie or not, because of the way I was explaining certain things in the story. There was a lot I was doing, but I ended up just kind of ignoring. Like throughout the story, you're probably not going to like learn a lot about genies or anything like that. I'm not doing any more of that background lore. Like it's the only thing that's important is that China is basically a older big sister type. She wants to protect her younger sister. She wants her to understand certain things about life and like trying to help her and guide her in a direction where she can kind of just figure out things on her own and stop relying so heavily on wishes to like get her through life. And I think that is way better for her character and way better for Chloe and their interactions, where she's constantly trying to guide her sister down a different path. Not just because she doesn't like wishes, but she just feels like, you know, wishes aren't like going to drastically change your life for the better. A lot of times when things are done so quickly like that, it's usually not healthy for you. So I really wanted to play into that a lot more. I also wanted to make China more emotional. I wanted her to be less snarky, like I said before. I wanted her to be less closed off and have more emotional reactions. Like a lot of what I've been working on lately is basically just drawing China and like drawing her different sprites and giving her different emotions to show throughout the game, because I wanted her to be the character that you see. Literally, she's the character you'll see most of the time. She also has these narration bits and like a lot of I kept a lot of parts of the original story in this new one, where she basically still gets affected by the wishes in negative ways. And when she recounts those stories, I wanted to show the different emotions of what she was going through, and depending on how you react to that is basically how the game is played. Okay, so now we can actually talk about the plot and the game design. Originally, I had the game where basically you make wishes and that affects how the game will end, versus where I am now. The original game is really short, it's very simple, and like where I tried to add a lot of like backstory, and it was just getting too much. It was too much world building that I was trying to do where I really shouldn't have had to or need to. And it was becoming a big struggle for me because I really don't like doing backgrounds or anything, and I was just doing a lot when it came to backgrounds. Some of them came out okay, others I had to scrap because it was just way too much going on. So I let my sister like basically play test the game in its current state, because right now where the game is, it's not even really finished because I didn't finish a lot of the character sprites or the backgrounds. Like I finished some of the backgrounds, but I didn't finish a lot of them, and I just wanted to see what she thought of the game in its current state. And she pointed out a lot of things that I didn't really notice at first, like the fact that the game was very short. And that really bothered me because I didn't really want the game to be short. I wanted the game to be like interesting. But when I looked at it again, I realized that there weren't really many options and there wasn't a lot of character interaction. And I wanted more character interaction. I wanted Chloe and China to talk more as sisters. I wanted to have a backstory to that because I felt like that would be really interesting. So I started to rewrite the whole script. I started to redraw all the characters. And I also kind of redid some of the backgrounds as well. Like I haven't even like literally started on the backgrounds. They're really still just thumbnail sketches. But I have this idea in my head of what I wanted the game to be compared to where it is right now. What I want the game to be right now is where you as Chloe, you play as Chloe, and you basically are trying to ask your sister for one last wish, a wish for world peace. And China basically explains to you 3 different scenarios of what happened when you made these other wishes. And based on your reaction to those wishes is like how the game will work. I don't want to give too much away, but that's basically the game. I don't know if it'll still be short in that state, but I feel like that's the best way to go about the game instead of the way I had it before, because it will open up to more dialogue. It will open up to more like you getting adjusted to these characters and getting to know them more as people. I talked a lot about how I wanted Chloe to be perceived and how I wanted, China to be more emotional, and those things can't get across unless I let the let the player engage with those characters in that way. So in this, I've been focusing a lot on like character interaction in this version of the game, and I think it's better in this way because it opens up a lot more options and it doesn't overwhelm me anymore. I think it was overwhelmed because this is my first time actually making a visual novel. This is my first time like really coding a game. And this is definitely my first time making character sprites or anything like that. So it is kind of stressful and kind of terrifying because I don't know exactly what I'm doing and I'm like looking up stuff as I'm going along. Even just coding, it's been a lot. Like I am starting to understand it, but if it wasn't for like my partner, I would not have been able to figure a lot of this stuff out. So I'm kind of like proud of myself for how far I've gotten with this story and with this game, but I'm also disappointed in myself for how long it's taking. But I think realistically, like, this is my first time and I do other stuff outside of just working on the game. But when I do work on the game, it takes a long time to get all this stuff done. Like I'm literally doing a lot of stuff on my own. The only thing I'm not doing on my own is the GUI, because I will be damned if I make or any of that. I do not want to make the GUI, which is basically like the game interface, basically the buttons and like the text boxes and all that stuff. I don't want to make any of that. I don't think I will ever make any of that. I'd rather commission somebody to make it versus me having to make it. That's how much I hate it. I also hate making backgrounds, but in this case, I want to feel some closeness with this project because I feel like if I can do this, I can definitely make more stories in this way. I've been trying to figure out for a while, pretty much since like the end of 2022, what I wanted to do with my life. What type of artist do I want to be? And I don't know yet. I don't know. I wanted to be an illustrator at some points. I wanted to be a character designer at other points. But the more I like do my own thing, the more I feel comfortable with that, rather than trying to like be these two different things. Like I like illustrations, but I don't really want to do the type of work that comes with it because it's, to me, very restricting and difficult to wrap my mind around because I don't have a lot of practice with it. But then I also like character design, but I don't really want to. I like my characters being a little bit static, and I think that's just because I'm also lazy, because pushing my characters too much ends up messing up the feeling for me. and I get stressed out about that as well. So in both ways, I'm being lazy about the way that I'm approaching it in some regards, but I also feel like maybe these aren't the things for me. Maybe this isn't the type of artist I want to be. And as I'm working on this visual novel and other projects, I realize like I need to be the type of artist that's happy to be an artist. Like, this stuff makes me happy. Working on a visual novel makes me happy. Working on my like paper character stands, working on like making my own like art shop and making my own products. These things make me happy, and that's the type of artist I really want to be. I feel like I already have my answer just by talking about it, but I feel like I should still open myself up to other possibilities. I think I want to keep trying to work on character design and stretching out my characters and like giving them more expressive, more expressions and working on expressions. But I don't want that to be the only thing I work on. I want to keep working on visual novels because this is so far been a lot of fun for me. It takes a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. I don't know how I got here. I think I like, outside of all of this, the stuff I was just talking about, I'm really excited to be working on this visual novel. When it comes out, it'll be free. Like, I'm not trying to charge anybody anything. I'm gonna put it on itch.io. I don't know when I'm going to get this thing done, because like I said, this has been like a new process for me, and I don't really have a deadline. I just want it done. That's the only thing that matters to me. Eventually, as I get used to making visual novels, I would like to focus on time management, because I don't really like how things take too long sometimes. It's very taxing for me because I feel this like clock is ticking, like you got to get this done. But there's no real clock ticking. That's just how my brain is being stupid and stressing me out. But I want to get this done in this year at least. And I hope I get it done before the summer. Not before the summer, maybe before winter. Whenever winter actually starts. But I want to thank you guys for following me on this journey so far. I'm going to upload more videos, or maybe probably more posts on my Tumblr about basically like devlogs and explain where I am in the process. Right now, I'm mostly just working on the character sprites, and once I'm done with that, I will move on to backgrounds, because that's the only other thing I can think of. My script is only 2/3 of the way done, so I need to actually finish that as well, but I do that in bits because writing is actually exhausting. You'd be surprised, it is hella exhausting. So, and me working on that, it's probably gonna take me a little bit more time to get most of the writing done. I'm having people actually look through it right now, even though it's only 2/3 of the way done. I still want people to actually like look through it and tell me if anything is wrong, or like maybe I need to change stuff. And I will keep updating, especially on my Ko-fi. If you want to get like written updates or pictures and stuff like that of what I'm doing, you'll get a lot of stuff through my Ko-fi first. You'll get a lot of stuff through my Tumblr first before you'll get it on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can. I do post updates on it, but it's like Tumblr and my Ko-fi are the places you need to go to like actually see those updates. If you want to see my art shop or anything like that, it is through my Ko-fi. Like, I have a lot of stuff up there, and I'm also working on more character paper stands, if you've seen my post about that. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, just head over to my Ko-fi. There'll probably be a link down below. And thank you again for watching and paying attention to any of the shenanigans I'm doing. This is a very interesting time in my life right now as an artist, and I'm glad I'm able to share it with whoever is watching this. So thank you again. Bye.